After drawing portraits for over 25 years, I've learned that there is a 4-step process behind improving any portrait. I call it the DART system. Diagnose what isn't working, anchor what is working, rebuild the weak areas, and tighten everything up. This is the exact same process that has helped my students transform their work, win awards, and land commissions. If you want me to review your work, just fill out the form in the description. So let's break this portrait down and see exactly what's going on. Now, there are only 3 high impact problems holding this likeness back. Once those are fixed, it is going to completely transform the drawing. First, let me show you what is working so we know exactly what to build on. There's a lot working here. The placement is pretty damn close. Look how the head, brow line, nose, mouth, and chin line up. It's basically on the money. The creative choice with the hair is really nice as well, and we're going to use that to our advantage. And the tonal range, it's solid. This is actually one of the harder things to do in portraits because most people get intimidated and avoid going dark. But here's the kicker. Values are what hold the life to the portrait. Honestly, this drawing has all the ingredients for a really strong portrait. Alright, so now we know what is working. Let me show you the first high impact change because this is going to be the scaffolding, what attaches everything together. We don't have a proportion problem. We have an angle problem. The reference angles are like this and the angles in the drawing are like this. Now, the fastest way to fix an angle problem isn't to try and adjust everything all at once. Because if it turns into we need to move the eyes, we need to move the mouth, and we need to move the nose. Why is that so difficult to say? You end up going around in circles, nothing lines up, hours go by, and it still looks off. Instead, we pick one shape in the drawing to be our anchor point. Here's why that's so important. Once there's one shape that we can truly trust, every other distance and angle can be adjusted in relation to it. It becomes the North Star to the drawing. Now, the anchor point wants to be a really simple shape, and because the placement is already so good, the nose is a great anchor. It's basically just a simple triangle shape. The eyes, the brow line, the mouth, and the surrounding areas can all be re-angled slightly downwards in relation to the nose. All of a sudden, the portrait has made a huge difference. And now the drawing is also matching the biggest angle cue in the reference, the A-frame that runs through the portrait. Now, is it perfect? Definitely not. But everything after this point supports what's already been fixed. We don't want perfection at this point. We want progression, because aiming for perfection too early kills improvement. Okay, so now let me show you the next high impact change, which is actually a very low effort move that makes a huge difference. Fix this and instantly the drawing starts to look more real. Because the angles are now correct, we just need a simple mid-tone pass to bridge everything together. Watch how the portrait comes alive when this mid-tone layer goes in. It gives the portrait more context because the tonal shades start acting in unison, creating a much more believable image. And honestly, this is the heavy lifting now done, and I haven't really done much. This now sets us up for the last high impact change, and if this is done at the right time, it can make the portrait read like a completely different person. Done too early, the portrait can actually look worse. Right now, everything is reading. The only thing missing is the definition in the features. Watch what a few specific darker tones and accents around the mouth, nose, and the eye does to the portrait. The likeness now stands out, and there's clarity in the features. Now, before tightening this up, it's important the changes that we have made happen in this order. Here's why. When likeness is off, most people panic and start moving features around trying to perfect them right at the beginning. But here's the kicker. That actually makes things 10 times harder, because if the structure and the shadow groups underneath aren't organized first, no matter how many times you move the features, it will still look off. So start with the biggest, most obvious changes first, then the smaller changes last. Alright, now we move into the last part of the dart system, tighten. The portrait reads, the likeness is locked in, and the loose creative hair against the more realistic face works really well. So now it's polishing, refining a couple of highlights, softening a few transitions, and cleaning up the focal edges in the shoulder so everything reads clearer. And just look at the before and after. I've only built on what was already there and have made minimal changes, but the changes I have made are very specific and they have a huge impact. But here's the issue. Knowing what to specifically look for is difficult. So to make this so much easier, I've made a free portrait tool that simplifies any portrait into clear tonal shapes so you know what to aim for right at the beginning. So proportions and likeness becomes easier, faster, and more accurate. It's totally free and you can download it in the description. Enjoy.